Some modifications and activities discussed in this podcast should not be attempted or recreated. Make sure to keep the mods legal and obey the laws of the road and keep routine the ages. What's the crack, everybody? I'm having to talk very slowly because it helps Michael edit. But welcome.
Only for the start. It's literally just the first bit. It's just because normally we're chatting shit and then you go... Right.
Welcome to the Limited Slip Differences podcast. Podcast where we talk about all things engines. The last podcast
was episode 12.
Was episode 12 when we talked about farming.
And FarmFlix. We had FarmFlix on.
Yes.
Which was class.
That was
absolutely
brilliant.
Class. That
Brilliant.
was such a good podcast to record.
It was definitely brilliant. Very long, Michael.
Yeah, we're trying to keep this one a bit less. Also, if you haven't watched our FarmFlix episode, go watch it because it's fucking class and I said so. Anyway.
Do what Michael says.
Actually, don't do what I said. That's terrible. If you've listened to episode 1, you'll know my advice is normally pretty terrible.
Yeah, don't get him to build an engine.
Or just anything in general.
Well, it wouldn't be that bad to you now.
What do you think of our turbo? It's fucked. It shouldn't make that noise. For those who's listening, the microphone will not have picked this up.
Has it transported from Holland?
No, this is the Chaser turbo that was originally supposed to go on the Sierra at the very, very start, before I had any fucking clue about how mounting anything up. So Chaser turbo is literally, it wouldn't have worked unless you clocked this completely the wrong way around. So because it sits the opposite direction. So holy fuck, is that a Chaser turbo? It was lying. I had it. What did I have for?
There's a banner behind us saying that.
Yeah, I know. But why is it here? I took it down to take this off to try out my new turbo. More on that in a bit. And it didn't fit the new turbo because it's like a big 90 degree and the compressor housing comes out too far on the new one. So, and I looked at it and was like, that's kind of a nice ornament. And now it's on the table.
Lovely, so it is.
So
adds a wee bit of character, to the table.
A bit of decoration.
A wee bit of decoration. If you're on YouTube, obviously you can see. If you're on Spotify, we have a turbo just randomly sitting on the table right now for a bit of decoration. Fucked.
Well, let's give it a name. What are we calling our turbo?
Doesn't spill.
Patsy. It's called Patsy now.
Patsy the turbo.
Patsy the turbo. It's Patsy. Right, Patsy.
Please don't speak back to you.
Anyway.
What's new, Michael?
What is new? To be fair...
2 wee seconds. There's very little new with me, so we'll just let Michael talk for the next 15 or so minutes.
Is this main character syndrome kicking in? I think so. What's new with me? My car works again, but we'll see, because...
Just you touch the wood. You may just lift the table.
Fuck the table over. So I got my... So I think, did we talk about in the last podcast how my turbo got lost in Holland?
We did.
So my turbo is actually still lying in customs as we speak. It's still in customs. So about a week and a half ago, I pressed Krath, one of our good friends, Jonathan Krath, to use his full name. He had a Pulsar turbo that he was going to put on another project. And the Pulsar, it's a G25 660. So it's a really small turbo compared to what I had. So it's going like spool at like 2500 RPM. Now, did I want to put a new turbo on my car? No, absolutely not. I mean, I did, but could I afford it? No, but...
It was one of your pipeline things?
It was one of my pipelines. I was gonna do the turbo at some point, because the way my car was at the minute, or at the time, it was like nothing, boom, everything.
Very much like an Evo type of thing, Evo power band. Because Evos are kind of laggy. nothing, and then you get the full whack.
It's just because it's just the same with anybody that fits a big turbo to a car. And as you noticed tonight, so you can now hear the turbo starting to spool, even on idle, from like 2500 RPM, which it never would have done originally.
Now, I'm not going to make any turbo or car noises, but it does sound deeper, the car, and it does take some of the raspiness out of it.
Yeah, it feels like it fills the car, whereas when I had the big turbo on, the car felt empty. It nearly felt like a bit of a fart can. It was too raspy. It was grand once you come in.
It kind of sounded like a 1.6 Civic with a big fart can.
No, it did, but whenever you were in idle or like taking off, it wasn't until you come on to boost or even like 4000 RPM that it started to sound normal.
It sounds more like SR20 vibes now.
Aye. Better engine, though.
Well, I will not comment, but you're getting closer to the Sylvia, Michael.
SR20s. So
you've new turbo.
New turbo. Should, in theory, because the whole set, right, big turbo, probably good. It's supposedly good for 600 horsepower, which I'm never going to get that out of a 2-litre.
You could, but you haven't forged it. You haven't done any of that.
Well, it's not even forging would matter. It was cams, and you'd have to be running on ethanol, and it's just there would be there are guys that do it, but
fuck that.
Yeah, correct.
Fuck that.
So what I have now is, but turbo technology has got so much better. It's a Pulsar, so it's not a Garrett. Pulsar's like a copy of a Garrett, but LOL, I can't afford a Garrett. But they're like an 80%, 90% copy. They're really good.
So, long story short, it's going to be more responsive. Your car's going to probably be better to drive.
And it's going to try and kill me in high boost. Because it's going to pack up on high boost, it'll actually make more power than what I make now.
But when it's on, if you're boosting from 2.5 onwards,
it's a more linear power band.
Yes, more linear, so it probably won't kill you as easy.
Well, it'll spin the wheels quicker. If you're in the wet, it would, my car, if you just dabbed, if you dab the accelerator now, it probably will spin. But my car, it was nothing, and then the next thing, it would just kick the tail. The time Kilray coming over the bridge in the wet that night, we went to get the car to Stevie's to get the car prepped for wrapping. Literally, I barely touched the throttle, and she just spooled, and just next thing, she just snaps.
Maybe you can diff it now.
I think it'll still get warm.
In theory, you should be able to.
I think it'll still get warm, to be honest. But in theory, yeah, I shouldn't need to go up as high up the revs either. Because
you'll be rings lad.
It'll have more low-down torque. So by rate slow down, it should still be making 200 horsepower. But, the lag.
Before I thought I could keep up, and then now it'll just be, I'll be okay, bye-bye, Mike.
I'd say most of the time I'll probably drive about in low boost. Which is going to be 320 horsepower. That's
plenty for the road.
Absolutely. Because 200 horsepower, the Altezza was 200, and it was fun. You could have done a bit more. At the minute, it's 400 and 416 or whatever. That's the problem is the power band's so small. It's nothing bang. So
it'll be driving. It'll be going from an Altezza power band at 400 brake, to an IS200 power band at 300 brake.
Yeah. So just constant power, hopefully. So it should be better to drive, but that's Crath ringing. Did I put this in the podcast? Hello?
Speak of the devil.
Not too bad. We're doing the podcast here, and we're just literally talking about you. What do you say? We are mid podcast, and we were literally talking about you.
Did you get the oh fuck?
Yeah, you're in speaker and all. You're in speaker and everything.
Oh, well. Alright. No, sorry, I'll leave you to I was just wondering about the car.
No, all good so far, I think. She's definitely spooling a lot quicker. You can hear, you can hear her coming on the power about 2,500. So, literally, I've just told everybody and that in the podcast as well, so I'm kind of repeating myself. But yeah, no, definitely.
Johnny's the second guess we have on.
Johnny's the second guess at this point, actually. Yeah, it's a lot better to be fair. But I'll not know that I get it mapped. Lloyd's mapping it at the minute. He's doing up a map for me.
That's what Michael's like on the phone, by the way.
Oh well, sure has.
Right, I'll do. Chat to you in a bit here.
Yeah, no, right.
Bye.
Welcome back, Michael.
I couldn't really ignore him.
No,
I couldn't ignore him. Did I keep that on?
Yes.
Okay. I was just about, because I didn't put him on speaker immediately.
It's if you get the holy fuck at the beginning, that'll be
interesting. Yeah. So that was. I should probably put my phone on silent or airplane mode whenever we're recording. But
I have mine silent.
Well, mine was on vibrate. I didn't want to ignore him. Anyway.
No, of course.
So moving on from the turbo. What else is new? And we are on 10 minutes. Okay.
Matbro.
The Matbro. So, I recently, if you were listening to the last podcast, you would have known that I was uncovering an underground scamming ring, if you remember, and if you haven't listened to it, go listen to episode 12.
It's as good as anything to listen to.
It's I got the tinfoil hat on, and it was good. So ended up going down to Cork to look at a Matbro. Why? I hear you ask, why Cork? Well, I was in Cork anyway. I was on site. Work had me down there anyway, and the fella who was selling me, who wants to sell it, has sent me like a million pictures and a million videos, and he listens to the podcast. Good man, Jeremy.
Fair play.
So yeah,
deadly.
Nice surprise, all right. And
Michael, you're famous.
I wouldn't say famous, but he was savage crack, to be fair.
Body at 210, lad.
Unreal.
Oh.
I'll tell you the full story. So he landed down, he goes, right, I left site, which was in Clonakilty, and he's like literally 11 miles.
There's an agri college in Clonakilty.
Is there,
Yeah. That would be the major one, I think, that a lot of southern ones would go to, yeah.
I always thought it was Ballyrasheen. Not Ballyrasheen. Bally. Can't remember.
You mean Ballyhaise and Cavan?
Ballyhaise. Oh, is that Cavan? Oh,
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah.
I think
Tralee's got the big agri university.
Ballyhaise, I think it's either Cavan or Monaghan, something like that. There. I'm not entirely sure, so correct me if I'm wrong.
Is Tralee not got the big agri college?
Could have. I just combined, whenever I was down there working in Waterford, I'm near sure I heard about Clonakilty, so I could be wrong, but...
Does good black pudding, if that's any consolation.
Don't really eat it that much.
Fuck, I love black pudding. But anyway, so went over to visit him then, and he was only like 11 miles from site, so deadly handy.
You couldn't be bad with that.
He was on the way back from site, heading to where I was staying. So, like, literally not out of the way at all. I mean, Cork's far away, but in terms of my driving...
From Antrim to Cork?
Yeah.
11 miles is not out of the way.
11 miles nothing. So, and I'm just turning my phone around. 11 miles nothing. So, I drove out and landed in the yard. He wasn't there yet, so I had a look about the place. And, well, not about the place, because that would sound stockerish. I had a look around the Matbro. And I didn't want to start it or nothing until he wasn't there, or till he was there, because that's just respect and courtesy, And
because if you're looking around the place, that could be seen as bad in many different ways.
It's Sierra stuff kicking about.
At least it's not batteries that you were looking for a tenner.
No, or any other scrap metal for that matter. And
at least you didn't want to sell your tools in the back of the van.
That's Snap Mac stuff. So that was alright. He lands in then in this big, massive, brand new 824 Fent with a trailer.
Be a 724. There's no 8 series.
824.
8 series doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. Well, it may not have been brand new. It might have been but it was fucking spanking clean. Aye,
but anybody that owns a Fent does keep it right and clean.
It's not his. It's the company he works for. So basically,
but then it's definitely aye.
It's it has like a crane on it, and it literally it's got a big tri-axle trailer in the back of her.
Was it for logs?
Yes. I'd never seen one of them in person before.
There's a Voltra that I've seen about Tim and that, and I know. So when I was in England doing the summer net,
yes,
there was a Voltra that they had, and they had essentially a cage over the cab, and if I can mind right, the 3-point linkage had like a crane, as you say, and they had a log trailer in the back of it.
Well, this one here, it's not so much for lifting logs, it's for chopping them. So it's like a big saw and all on it. Yeah, it's a big saw and all. So
but anyway, continue.
So it was. So anyway, landed in. He landed in then, and we went out into. He was like, right, sure, go and take her around the place. So I took her around into sort of silo duffel area. I've went quite quiet there. Into the silo duffel area. And he was like, right. He was like, right, fiddle you away with her, tear you on, figure out how to use her, I'll be back in a minute. And I went, right, dead on. And I was starting to play about with, putting the boom out, going and inspecting the boom, just checking around all, the wear points, etc. And went and left it like a load of muck. And holy fuck, see for a 1983 Matbro, that thing, she'd lift the back end before she'd lift the bucket, if that makes sense.
See, there's so modern telehandlers
have like a power cut kind of thing.
Funny, I was doing a telehandler course not that long ago.
Right.
So the machines nowadays, I know our own wee Kramer, whatever you want to call it, does it. So if you're lifting technically above the machine's capacity,
she'll cut out and not let you lift it.
She'll log out, but you can do an override button.
Yeah, she can. You can do it with cranes too, yeah.
Yeah, to allow her to lift, but she'll probably lift the back wheels off. So
to relay back to the video, which we've talked about so many times in this podcast, I think this might be the third or fourth time, Quinn's, that video of Quinn's, where the back end goes up, same thing, just all the hydraulic power in the world, no safety overrides. So the Matbro have been...
It was Brian Miller, I think, took that video.
It was, yeah.
Yes, so I know he commented under it, thanking us for mentioning it.
I didn't even see that. Oh, well, that's nice.
That is lovely.
That's very wholesome. And
wholesome podcast, as always. Podcast.
So anyway, I was like, fucking hell, this thing's got power. All I hear is this massive snort, and I was like, what the fuck is this coming? This 8210 with an ignorant straight pipe.
As Michael pulls down the
massive, just big solid rims, big wide.
I thought you said a massive set of tits.
Not on this podcast, not yet, unfortunately. And I tell you one thing, full mast when I seen that thing,
that's what I said. Michael sees the 8210 come round, and all he sees, Michael just pulls out the tires and is like,
well, I wasn't for getting done for sexual offences on this occasion, but Jesus Christ, unreal. So then he reversed her in, and then he's like, right, jump you out and jump you in the 8210 there, and I was like, I got dead on. So I jump on it, and he takes the Matbro, and he's like, I need to go on. He's like, we're going to take this dung and muck up the hill here while it's dry. And I was like, dead on. So I sat in the 210 then, and he filled the load with a Matbro, and I looked at him and watched him do it, see how she was going, and hey, she was 100%. And then next thing, he jumps into the cab and stands beside me and goes, right, going up the hill and tip that. And I was like, aye, sure, I'll just move. He goes, no, you're driving. And I was like, ha. He goes, oh, go on, fire away. And I was like, you've been serious? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. So, anyway,
Michael whilst at full mast,
you want to hear the note of that thing going up that hill. I took about 30 million Snapchats of it, so I think everybody heard it.
Yes.
Unreal. So I went up the hill, we single axle trailer on behind, went up the hill, tipped the dung, come back around again. He jumped out, filled another load. I went up again, up the hill, come back around. He goes, right. He's like, you fell a load of muck there. And I was like, fucking hell, you're getting free labour out of me here, aren't you? And he was like, here, if you're going to buy it, I want you to use it. Which for me is such a strong point. If a man's literally going, jump on that thing and fill a load of muck.
Even for that, right, in this day and age, for you to land at somebody's yard. So imagine somebody lands at your yard and you have, say, the 300 up for sale. And you're like, here, go and have a look around her there and go and have a play about where. And
I let Conor Difffeld his when he was for taking her.
You knew him though, and he was from down the road.
True.
He wasn't from 6 hours away.
Yeah, true. But we've been talking anyway, and I was.
But
sorry, I think he knew it was genuine enough,
More applicable. It would be like you telling somebody to go and
drive the 110/90.
Yeah. That you have never met before.
Yeah. Go, you draw that load of silage there. Yeah. I know. No, it was really good. And then he goes, I'm going to walk away here and go and do something else. He goes, and you're going to drive that and fill that trailer. And I was like, am I? And he goes, hi, you are. I was like, right. So he's like, here, if you're buying her, I want you to see her. I want you to see what she's like. Have a play about her. Get used to her.
Just don't drive her out the yard.
And then, you'd have to go out and up around it.
I know I'm taking the piss.
I know. But to be fair, you wouldn't have gone away anyway.
Get it.
But so I started playing about. Now I have to say, the gear changes in the Matbro. That's kind of awkward.
I've never drove one, so I can't comment.
So it's actually reverse, neutral, and then third, second, first. So you have to bypass the high gears to go to the low gear. I thought it was a bit strange too.
There was probably some sense to be made back in the day.
I don't know if there was. You can tell it was made in Britain in 1983.
All
the dials across the dash aren't even fucking straight.
It'd be like driving one of those, I think it's Eurospec Massies, that the new 8S is sort of based on a bit. So the 2540 and 2640s, where you side shift at them.
Yeah, well, what do you call them? The 18090s and 16090 Fates are like that too.
It's like watching somebody jump into a modern day Massey and look for the key, and they're like, "Where's it at?" It's obviously up in the
up
in
there.
The pillar.
Yeah. Well, So anyway, I started tearing away and farting about and trying to fill this load of dung and into the trailer, and then I filled it up, got a nice wee load on it, if I say so myself, and then
You didn't spill any?
No, actually, did I? No, I just don't think I filled the bucket as well as I probably should have. Because I wasn't on tear, and I was still trying to get used to the fact that the gears are all like.
I'm curious, do you drive in with the bucket obviously in the ground and then just lift up and pull in?
Lift up, driver forward a bit more. Lift up, driver forward a bit more, and then start like tilting her up while you're still trying to edge forward ever so slightly.
I found it worked well, and this is probably a bad way to do it, so people can
Straight in!
with a wee bit of force straight in, but then just crown the bucket round in itself.
Really? And
Yeah.
then lift her up?
No. Crown the bucket round and then reverse back a bit, then lift up.
Right,
It worked for me whenever I was lifting pig manure.
I don't know what that was, but whenever I went by my house just absolutely fucking flew.
Yeah?
Anyway,
Anyway.
so I say anyway so much. I then, so he wasn't about, and I was like, right, okay, well, I guess I may go and take the 8210 another run then. Oh, God. So I jumped under her again, and way up the hill, and I was trying to see just what I could do where I didn't really want to go too hard on her because it wasn't my tractor. I didn't want to bug her because if the brakes weren't good or whatever and she died out in third gear, I didn't want it, like, where his, like, yard, so you go up this hill in the field, but see the lane, you come into the field, well, beside it's just a big steep drop. So I didn't want to go rolling back down the hill and then over this, sort of
You want
steep
to live.
edge. Yeah, I chose life. So that was fine. Went up, tapped it, come back, and your man was like, well, what'd you think? And I was like, well, she was dead on, really good. And he goes, right, one more load. And I was like, right, dead on. And he goes, I'm driving the 8210 this time. So he was like, I want to try and see what she'll do. He goes, get a video over. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely going on the podcast. Like, so, yeah, went about, and Jesus, he was like, right, take a video of this, take a video of that. And then at the end, he was like, yeah, send them all to me, please. So anyway, that was the story. So she's not home yet. We agreed on a price.
Oh, so you've done the deed?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
She's not home yet. Well, we've agreed on a price. I haven't paid him yet. So
Is she a 2-ton machine?
I don't know. I've no idea.
Fair enough.
No idea. So
She'll do all you'll ever need her to do.
she'll do far more than I ever need. You'll do more driving on her than I will.
Oh, right, okay.
You're the one that's, as we discussed last time, if I ever do get round to getting the farm somewhere, which will be fuck knows when, you're the one that's offered to do the buck raking, so
I've dabbled.
I haven't. Apart from that one time where I nearly put the 3075 on its side, but we'll not talk about that.
Nope.
Anyway, so that's what's new with me, and that's a long-winded story about how I went to go and buy a Matbro.
And that's Stories with Michael is now over for this podcast.
Well, I've done, I would say, in the last 22 minutes,
talked a lot of shite.
and lifted some, I've probably done, I'd say, 19 minutes of talking. So
You do love talking to yourself.
I do love talking. So Conor.
So, although we have talked so much about farming so far in this podcast, believe it or not, this is not a farming podcast. So we'll now go on to the car bit of it.
So, what is this week's main topic, Conor?
This week's main topic is, suppose with LZ Festival, World Tour, whatever you want to call
excited.
it, on this weekend, we sort of thought we would talk about who, suppose, our aspiring car-based YouTubers are, or our favourite YouTubers basically in general, and why we like them, and suppose then why LZ Fest / World Tour is quite a big deal to us.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Michael, who's your favourite YouTuber? Probably will have similarities here in this, but sure.
I've got a couple of YouTubers and then also a couple of people on Instagram.
We're talking about YouTube.
Yeah, but there's just one person I want to give an honorary mention to because they basically post that many videos.
They might as well have a YouTube.
They don't have a YouTube channel, but
might as well be YouTube.
yeah. Firstly, I'll start with Drift Games.
That'll be one of my top ones. Yes. How long have you been watching Drift Games?
Probably not far from when the Drift Games channel itself started.
I'd be the same with that, yeah.
I think from they did the video. Was it Pete Nielsen? It was like the Undriftables or something they called it. They should have I think they should have continued that because it was kind of funny. They were doing a piss take of the Undateables. It was the Undriftables, and it was like Pete Nielsen, and I think he had the car with the see-through doors.
He did.
Yeah. So they did like a thing on him, and I remember just watching from then, and like there's loads of videos, and in the last, basically since they did Drift Week in New Jersey last year, like their game has seriously stepped up. Like since they've kind of obviously got on board with all like the international guys, they haven't the following that they should have. If that makes sense.
Well,
when you look at what some of the other YouTubers have and the content Drift Games puts out, and the fact that Drift Games is in with all the big YouTubers,
no,
yeah, they should definitely have a bigger following. And I think being on the island of Ireland definitely hinders their following.
Well, like I've probably watched them. I can't mind. So I've been watching them easily as like as far back as when Dave Egan had the Golf GTA, and he was doing his bits
you
to
are
it.
far back.
So
wow,
I can mind him
far.
watching the likes of, watching him put a lip kit I think on it and lowering it, and then they sort of showed behind the scenes of whenever they done the Emirates Drift Championship, and a few other things. But one thing that sort of that was good for Drift Games was, so obviously they ran multiple Drift Championships.
Yeah, they made
as a Zegan Promotions or whatever, they ran, between Emirates, BDC, ADC, and they have a big dab hand in Drift Masters. Well, now they basically run it.
They do the media for Drift Masters, but
I suppose they had the equipment and that.
I think Drift Masters has kind of become what the ADC was. It was getting
bigger,
but what I mean is, it was getting to the stage where everybody was coming to Ireland to do the ADC. Like the final, was it 2017 or 2019? The final round where they had like Forrest Wang and all those guys all coming over.
So 2 seconds and I will get there. But
yeah.
So what I'm saying is they had all the equipment and they could make the real good high quality videos.
Yeah.
They did the Heroes for the weekend.
Yeah.
Which was like a feature length thing and it was great to watch.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 2018 was the last year of the ADC.
Yes.
And then they rebranded it so that he could take full control for. So he made Drift Games Extreme and the Drift Games Nationals.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah, yeah.
So
it was only had 1 year before COVID. Yeah.
I'm near sure in 2018, Red Bull had the Drift Shifters. So Mad Mike, more or less, like he had done one in New Zealand. So then they took over Liverpool. Yeah, and they had Drift Shifters. So Dean was the RX-7. Dean Kearney, whatever way you want to pronounce it.
I think they say Kearney, but we would say it Kearney up here.
Yeah, so he had the Viper over.
That's right.
Let me think. Frederick Asbo was in his European car, which was a GT86.
Yes.
Forrest Wang was over in his S14.
Yep, he was.
S15. Can't remember exactly who else, but because all the cars were in England, it was very easy, obviously, to bring them to Ireland. So
that's right.
The final round then of Drift Masters that year
had
so Japfest had Drift Masters in the Global Warfare, or as they now talk about, the classic track.
Yeah.
Which is basically you have the grandstand and it's very easy. I'm near sure they had the second grandstand. Do you know in the bank? Just coming into the first corner.
Yes.
So the grandstand there, the second grandstand, I'm near sure up against the bank.
Yes.
Could be wrong now, but
right, okay.
So they had it there, and that's so I think ADC was on the Saturday, and then the Drift Masters was on the Sunday. So I can mind it was down on the Sunday, and that was just the start of me getting properly into drifting.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I'm going on a big rigmarole here. But so Drift Games had the good base. And they've just grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
And Dave Egan being, to be fair, the legend that he is, he only wants to go bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, he's a true showman, like.
So the ADC, obviously, it got as big as it could, and then he's now transformed that into Drift Masters because he's got, probably a big hand with obviously the commentating and that and it.
I think being Drift Masters definitely allowed him to expand. So allowed him to go and help out with the BDC and help them, go to the likes of the Emirates and. If he was busy, if he was still doing the ADC, he wouldn't have been able to go to Australia and compete with the Keep It Reek guys.
No.
And go to like the likes of New Jersey and commentate on like Drift Week and stuff like that. He would never have had the chance to do that if he was still running ADC.
So, as you say, the hindrance with Ireland. So, I suppose there's only so many car enthusiasts in like a population of 8 million.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. Don't get me wrong.
There should be more listening to this podcast, but anyway.
Well, that's up to the people. That's up to the people.
We can't force them. Or can we?
I don't know what your head's thinking.
Tumbleweed.
Okay, but so their quality of videos was always deadly.
Yeah.
And it's obviously got better as time has went on.
Oh god, yeah. And
but so they would be probably the main car YouTubers in Ireland.
Oh yeah.
So they would definitely.
Well, Just Box.
That seemed to be by accident.
So will we move on to Just Box?
So Just Box would be up there too.
Yeah.
Like really, it was Neil and building the AE86.
Yeah, the green one.
He documented it, and then obviously that got more and more because, like, I came in the video. He took that to 86 Fest.
Yes.
And they were just having the crack, driving around the track in this half fucked 86. For the bands.
Couldn't really get much more Irish than that, to be fair.
It's like somebody said to us, we're literally in a shed with a Sierra. Can you get much more of an Irish podcast?
True. Maybe the 11090. Don't know if it fit between the left all the same.
Oh, she's bound to.
She would. She would.
If she'd fit in the parking space, she's bound to.
Yeah, she should fit in there. Maybe do that someday.
For the shits and giggles.
Yeah.
And the giggles and the shits.
It's all fun and games to someone giggles and shits. Yeah, Juice Box, I think...
Do you watch them much? Or do you watch Neil's videos much?
Not as big a follower, but I know Japan in a Van.
It was brilliant.
I think that's really what put them on the map.
Yeah.
I think, they do the barbecues and all, so they would have a very organic following anyway. Like, I think it's nearly like if you're invited to a Juice Box barbecue, it's like one of the things, it's like, your car's pretty cool.
Yes. So...
I've never been invited.
You've got Drift Games and you've got Juice Box that do... like the Jap sort of style of it, or the the high, not the cars that people can't really afford right now.
Yeah,
like the Jap tax
when
stuff.
They used to be $3,000, now they're $30,000. Yeah.
But then you have the guys that you got chatting to quite a bit at Donegal, and they love to know what you do for a living.
You must be talking about Next Exit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
I would like to see their Donegal 2023 video.
If they would ever release it.
Only because I think I'm in it.
Main character syndrome.
I was waiting for that. No, I would like to see it. It's always good quality.
Michael, you really portray that you fucking love yourself.
Even though I don't, I absolutely hate myself. But it was just... I'm in the Lidl coat in it.
Oh my god.
I was walking about Albagreen. And just in this Lidl coat with just people just going...
The only thing you haven't done with it is walk into Lidl. And just go to the cat. Just go to the till
and go, I work here now.
Oh my god, you should just go to the till and just be like, can I take over for a while?
Go on your break. I'll take.
But you know what you have to do? You have to like put the fucking groceries through like fuck, so the person packing the bag's like shit. Beep beep. Because that's what Lidl's like. It's like, how quick can you fuck things into your bag?
It's literally like, you may as well be firing stuff out.
Because like you go to Tesco and like you have a wee bit of time to put your groceries in the bag, and
Lidl is just like just boost.
And the cashier's just going like, hurry up to fuck. Is that cash or card? Card. And literally you're like
just for anyone who didn't know, so I did. And if you're on YouTube, you'll see it in Spotify. I literally just threw the card reader, invisible card reader, in Conor's face as quick as I could. They're very efficient, I have to say.
Suppose they have to be.
They're probably trained on it. Like, I mean, it's a German company, so
yes,
they're trained in being efficient.
But so Next Exit would cover sort of like the side of things where the others wouldn't really.
Yeah.
So like you're diffing, you're better wrecking,
kind of
asking
like
everybody what they do for a living.
Well, we don't do that, but they kind of we were chatting about this about Donegal, like kind of what our podcast does is it's a podcast equivalent of like what they do.
Yeah.
So obviously we're big in with the drift, not so much the drifting, but the diffing culture and all that, and just the general dicking about, being a knob kind of culture, I guess.
The Boy Racers.
The Boy Racers. Even though I fucking hate that title, but
I
anyway,
actually do hate that title.
I despise it.
I had the EP3, the exhaust done on it, and the second day, right, drove down to Gemma's, going through 5 Mile Town and was pulled in. And they went through the car like a tooth. Aye.
You have told this story on the podcast before.
So anyway, well, they're just going to have to listen to it again.
Fair enough.
And they called me a boy racer.
Echo.
I was like, really? You know,
I know,
seriously?
I know it is. It's because the Civic is one of those cars, and people who appreciate it know that they're pretty damn good cars, and there's a reason why everybody drives them like dicks, because they take it. But especially since you got Honda.
I do not drive my car like a dick. What are you talking about?
I've never seen that car get so much death. It's great. It's so fun. That night I was behind you. Where were you driving to? I was following you up the motorway.
After we'd done the farm flex.
Coming back from farm flex. And you just literally, it was just flames. Like, just the whole time.
See, I was, so I had her in like third gear at 70 or so. And
just like as you let off.
And I just kept on touching the throttle. So she was letting out flames in.
Yeah. Just constant flames the whole time.
Oh, the exhaust just loads me. That's why I'm driving the Golf tonight, because like, I can't afford to pedal.
Yeah, well.
But anyway, so next exit, they cover the side of things that, like, people that, you know, IS200s are still attainable. And they cover the diesel side of things too.
Yeah.
They are very partial to a good diesel with a good old popcorn limiter and a wee bit of a pop and bang map.
Well, I guess what they're doing is they're appealing to an audience. You know, like they're appealing to an audience. Other, you know.
Well, the younger ones now, like,
well, that's what they like.
There's as much love for diesels. Like, it used to be diesels, you know, you remapped them, they were easy to get a bit of power out of. But now, since they're on the pop and bang maps, like, there's as much love for them as there is for an MP3.
I think Jasper maybe has he got like a proper hard cut flame?
Oh, I know, yeah.
Does his do that? Jesus Christ. I don't see how that can be good in an engine, but I mean, it does look.
Probably at that stage, though, where engines are that cheap that nobody gives a fuck.
It's also PD130 probably, so it's probably bulletproof anyway.
Oh, completely, yeah.
But, so that, how did I have in my head from that? Oh, I was going to jump that into someone quite nice. Ah, yes, when you speak of people, I suppose, on YouTube, taking a look, or filming, as you say, the more diesel side of things, you were in one of his videos recently, so was I. Donald's.
Oh, yes.
So he's doing videos as well. So, had to obviously give him a shout out, he's a listener.
Yes.
So, he's doing as well. He's, to be fair, with being with PCS and all, he's got quite a bit of a following too.
Well, PCS is another one, I suppose, because
they were one of my honorary mentions, because I guess they're not YouTube so much. Do they have
They do have a YouTube, right?
But their main thing would be TikTok.
Their main thing, yes, would be TikTok. But they're showing, like, the port and that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, yes, you've done a Donegal rally and that. And I know in Galway, the sort of Salt Hill Sundays were a bit of a thing. But, like, the, you know, Port Sundays, now, because of them, obviously, they've elevated it to, they've drew in, like, people want to travel.
Well, Next Exit came to the port.
They went to the end of summer cruise last year.
I thought they went to Easter Sunday 2021.
Possibly went to Easter Sunday. I could be wrong. But no, yes.
I think they went to Easter 2021.
That's from Kerry.
Yeah.
That's a brave drive.
That's as far from the port as you can get. Like, that's like, Kerry be further than Cork, wouldn't it? Because you're not only going straight down, you're going down and across. So as the crow flies, you're probably going further.
Yeah, shit roads.
Yeah.
Shit roads. So we've covered sort of the local YouTuber, or well, the Irish YouTubers.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely more out there that I haven't come across yet, and you haven't come across yet.
Not so much, no.
And if you are listening to this and you do have content, here,
let us know.
Please throw it our way. We will watch it. We're always looking for content, and we're always looking for people to mention and shout out. Like, so, if you do have some that you think's good, here, send it through. Like, we'll happily support it.
Yeah.
So,
totally, yes.
like, yeah, definitely.
Well,
probably get no requests because people don't listen to us. But anyway. So, right now, you're probably looking at your screen going, why is it only Michael? And why is he in his own? Well, I'll tell you. So, and if you're on Spotify, all you've heard is a rewind sound. Currently, it's me. I'm on my own. And the reason for that is after the last podcast, literally, as soon as we finished, Conor turned to me and said, Michael, we forgot to include the people I'm going to mention now. And I was like, oh shit. So I said, don't worry, I'll sort it, I'll figure it out. Now, Conor's way too busy and at this minute in time probably milking, and for all the heartache it takes to set up everything in the shed, I wasn't going to bring him in for this, so I'll take over this bit and let the main character syndrome kick in. So basically there's 3 people who in the midst of all this I kind of want to give shout outs to. I know we normally give shout outs at the end, but these people are friends of the podcast, and one person particularly was very, very helpful and gave me a lot of insight when I first started. So those 3 people are Savicki, good friend of mine. She has her own YouTube. She's originally who I was supposed to do the podcast with, but she's so fucking busy that it just never materialized, and Conor and me had a great dynamic anyway, so it worked out well for me in the end. Also, friend of the podcast, Andrew Robinson, Andrew SR on YouTube, also puts up a lot of good content. The Ultrates video they did was seriously good. Would highly recommend that. And third and finally, Specky McSporn. So it was Specky that actually recommended quite a while ago for me to go for the exact mic that I'm holding in my hand right now, and the podcasting station that I use, which I also know Drift Games use, so big points there, was suggested to me by Specky at the time. So he's doing pretty well with things, but still appreciate the help and all he gave me. So right about now, I'm going to cut back into what I was originally talking about with Conor right about now. So I'm going to cut in here and say about, so another, I think following on from the Irish side of things, and kind of another channel that I watch and really, really enjoy watching, because I feel like it would be if you took our entire friend group and stuck us in one shed, would be the same. Nightride.
I never personally watched their videos.
I'm a massive fan of Nightride. They're in Japan at the minute.
Oh.
Yeah. Nightride's really good because like they take BMWs, E36s and stuff like that, and they built the, well, it's like the S13, but they put it's left-hand drive. So I think it's an S13 with an PS13 front and rear. So they basically like re-kitted like an S13 and turned it into a PS13, as far as I understand, because I don't think you got a left-hand drive PS. Or maybe you did. You maybe did, actually. Anyway, regarding America, they did, yeah.
They got the C18, didn't they?
Yeah, well, this one here...
No, the K24.
They got the KA24 in America.
Hence the 240SX.
Yes. I don't, which is interesting because the 200SX was what went to the UK, and it was the 1.8 engine, and the 180SX, which is in Japan, got the 2-litre engine.
So we got the 200, they got the 240, and Japan got the 180?
Yes.
Fuck, they made a wild show of that, didn't they?
They should have just given everybody 180s, and just everything had the SR20, and then throw the SR20 in the bin and put an actual good engine in it. I just feel this hatred towards SR20 simply because I didn't go for that route. I went for the Saab 2-litre turbo, and now I feel compelled to hate on other 2-litre turbo engines.
Your 2-litre turbo engine hates you?
Yeah, it does. So I have to project that hate to other engines.
It's not my problem, it's your problem.
So, Z-Techs, go fuck yourselves. What else?
We don't want the Ford purists to come.
No, actually, and to be honest, if I was doing it again, I'd probably go Z-Tech. But,
So Nightride, have you watched them long?
Since LZ Fest last year.
Because I didn't have a clue.
I hadn't heard of them before that at all. Hadn't heard of them at all before. But like, so they have that van that has a motorbike in it. But it's just the fact that they do a lot of the stuff themselves. They do most of it themselves, and they're not doing well. To be fair, some of like I feel like they're rash enough at the same time. You know, they're not like everything's not a complete work of art, although some of the stuff they do is absolutely class. But you know, they're not claiming to be these absolute specialists, or at least that's the opinion I get. Like, you know, one of their videos is we mess up and that's okay. You know, and it's like literally him painting the trims on his S13, and like it reacts, and he just is like, oh shit, like, you know, like they show all the like, to be honest, since watching Nightride has probably made me hate my car less, or hate myself less when I'm working, because if something goes wrong, I would always went like I just went straight into disaster mode and catastrophized.
Everything's going to go wrong for everybody.
But like they have problems. So for instance, they put a brand new turbo in their car and it failed immediately. So they had to go and get another turbo on the S13. Stuff like that. You know, and they show all the imperfections. They show the crashes. You know, they show everything. Like they show like coming around a corner and like, you know, he loses control and hits someone else. Stuff like that. It's really relatable content. And the humour, I quite like it because it's quite memey sense of humour. So it's quite quirky. I really enjoy it. So Nightride, I think's absolutely class, and I would recommend anybody to watch it. Have you got another channel?
I've want to watch quite a lot, to be fair. Officially Gassed. So
yeah, you're a big OG fan.
So suppose I get into it for the DC5. So we had it to begin with, and then I can't mean exactly what video got me hooked anyway, or well, sort of got me into it. So yes, so there was a Golf R.
Yes.
600 brake, and I was like, holy fuck. And essentially his layout of video is it gives you a taster of them in a full throttle pull from nothing, launching the cars basically, right?
And him reacting, going, "Oh my god, bro, that thing's insane." He's such a good character for it.
Yes,
his reactions are amazing.
So he sort of gets very high end cars on. So like see your Golf R,
Supras, Skylines,
the whole works. But what really has got me hooked at the minute is the OG battles.
Right.
So
yes.
So the OG battles is essentially a runway, drag racing, and it could be anything against anything. One of them was an 800 brake
Skyline,
4-door Skyline
versus the turbocharged,
the supercharged K20 Mini,
which did a wheelie.
Rear wheel drive converted, did a wheelie. Yes.
Was it rear wheel drive or rear engined?
Rear engined, rear wheel drive.
Aye, unreal.
Other ones there was a 3-way all motor K20.
Mind you show me that one, yeah.
But the other side of it is, though, obviously
the Golf R versus the Focus ST.
There's one of them too, yes. The other side of things is, though, probably the money he makes from YouTube. Apologies, by the way, for my voice. For some reason, there's something stuck in my throat and I'm trying to get rid of it.
Yeah,
but
she doesn't sound that bad, to be fair.
But yes, so probably the money he earns from
eating the microphone at this point.
No, probably. Apologies for the loud volume, but anyway, so he probably uses the money he makes from YouTube and puts it into his own cars.
Would you not?
Shut up.
I 100% would. I'd have 30 broken Sierras.
Yes, I'm talking now.
Keep going.
Fuck you.
Come on.
So he has DC5 now, and he has turboed it, and he has fully built the engine, so it's sitting around 780 or 800 brake.
Yeah.
And he's now planned to put it out to 1200 horse. I think it has a billet block.
Oh,
coming now.
Jesus!
I'm not sure.
Money. He shows a video like one of his first times driving it. Doesn't he break a half shaft?
He does.
Yeah, I like that. I like that whole sense of realism that shows like you can spend
all the money in the
world, and your car can still leave you stranded at the side of the road looking for the AA.
So is that he also has a Porsche, and
he's a Porsche.
I can't remember what Porsche it is, but if you watch his channel, you'll see it. So he had one at 1100 brake, and they ended up breaking the gearbox on it.
As you would, yes.
But it's built by ES Motor, and they actually build the quickest Porsches in the world.
Right.
So they've like a 1300 brake Porsche.
Okay.
But because Porsches are unbelievable at launching,
yes,
it's
just
like
snaps everything.
Fucking not. Well, it does like 0 to 60 in like under 2 seconds, and is doing the quarter mile in stupid times. Again, watch YouTube and you'll understand. So he's a Porsche, and he goes to different power levels. So it's like the 800 pack,
just the 800,
then the 900 pack or whatever, right? So, but he shows the builds of all them things,
right? Yeah.
And then obviously still does customer reviews. Like he is not customer reviews, but reviews on other cars. Like he had a 650 brake PD 130 Ibiza on.
That was Skillafabs, wasn't it?
Yes. There on Sunday past, or maybe the Sunday before, he had a 500 and something brake PD 130 or PD 150 Gulf anniversary. No, they're all running big shots of nitrous.
Nah, nitrous. Because I think they're sitting at only 400 standard, and then the shot of nitrous gives it 200 shot of nitrous.
But it was against like an Astra VXR that was fully built, which you would never see.
They sound unreal.
And there's one video in particular everybody should watch, and that is the R34 versus R33 versus R32, and Afe in his white R34 GTR by fuck he's not feared of her.
No, it's it's manual, isn't it?
It's manual with VCAM, and it's a fully built HKS engine with an RB28 in it.
Yeah,
so fully
Strugged, yeah.
Fully HKS engine. It's just unreal. So only officially gas would be one.
Yeah.
Another one I would quite, obviously out of the big ones in America, I would watch That Dude in Blue.
Right. I don't watch him.
So he would do videos the likes of Honda brought out the new Integra.
Yes.
And he was going like, how fucking stupid can you be bringing the Integra out in the way they did? So it's like
the new Integra literally puts me to sleep
saloon.
Looking at it.
It's a 5-door saloon. Like, I know the original Integra came out in 5 doors as well, the DC2.
What?
Yeah, you could get a 5-door DC2.
Really?
It doesn't look right.
No.
Whenever you're so used to seeing
just the standard,
the normal DC2.
Yeah. But an Integra in my head should be something that's in comparison to like the GT86. Maybe not necessarily rear-wheel drive, although that would be. I know the S2000s for that, so I'm kind of okay. Something similar, like kind of Yaris. Something that takes on the Yaris or the Corolla GTR or GTR, GR, because we're still talking about this.
But like, so like he would be invited by the likes of Toyota and that to just have a go on these new cars and say what he thinks on that.
Yeah.
So his channel sort of began with his Mustang. So he had the last of the, the way since I think it's maybe the S550 and that, they've like the newer sort of more European looking.
S650.
That's the latest model.
Right.
But like the later sort of shapes where they're more European styled versus like the
old more blocky
more
American style.
So he had one and the number plate was Smurf. It was bright blue.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed him like doing like a supercharger on it and different things. And then he reviewed his friends' cars, so they were like Evos at 1100 brake on the road.
Holy shit!
With like literally a fucking drag racing parachute, like literally attached to the car, so he could go drag racing and was driving about in like a mental Evo.
That cannot be comfortable to drive. You cannot go to the shops in a car like that. I'm sorry, you can't.
But he has an S13. He also has a K20 swapped. I think it's K20 swapped Integra. So he's another one I would have watched back and forth.
Yeah.
But then again, sure, we all dabble in TJ Hunt and Adam LZ as well. Do you watch much of them?
I would watch Jimmy Oakes more.
I never really watched Jimmy Oakes until we met him, and then I had to watch him. He's a lovely guy.
Such a nice guy.
Oh,
Jimmy Oakes is such a nice dude.
He's a nice lad when you're in from the night out at LZ Fest last year. It's 3:00 in the morning, and he walks in through the door while we're talking to like Kevin Quinn and Conor McNeil and them ones.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend stops him and says, "Oh, there's them lads from the night out. They want to talk to you."
Were we not just like, gone to bed?
Oh, we're like,
yeah. See,
I was like, go to bed, do a 360 for me in the morning.
He's such a nice guy. He was such a nice dude. So yeah, I started watching Jimmy Oakes after that. I love seeing him when he's on with, like, he was in with Nightride. He was in with Drift Games. I like seeing him doing all them crossovers as well, because like Jimmy Oakes when he comes to Drift Games, it's just another. Like, I know Adam LZ has got like the 86 and all now for LZ Fest this year, which I think that might be the car Andrew Kenna used to have. I think that car was originally grey.
It was. So Dave Egan bought it, and
yeah.
that's his new pro car, but Adam LZ is driving it.
Yeah,
at the weekend.
I kind of. So what, are they not using the Corvette as a drift car anymore?
I think the Corvette's now just a demo car, really.
I mean, it is fucking nuts. But I thought he was still planning on competing with it.
He's maybe driving it.
Yeah,
but you wouldn't
he's
want
probably
to
driving the Corvette.
Probably not. Well, he's maybe doing the whole MCing of the event.
Exhibition. He might do an exhibition on it. They should give it to Dwayne McKeever, because his car's in Europe at the moment,
and he's really needing a car.
Yeah, they should give Dwayne McKeever the F6. Right, Drift Games. I know you're not watching this, but sort him on out.
Definitely.
So yeah,
not that you haven't already sorted him out, but you need to do
yeah,
it.
just do more. Like, Jimmy Oakes when he joins like the likes of drift games is such a good. He just adds to the vibe. It's just such a nice dude.
But if there's one thing you found, right, so watching Adam LZ's videos of him in Ireland and the likes of Jimmy Oakes of them in Ireland, they do love the Irish car scene. Like,
speaking of the likes of the guys in Ireland as well, 888.
Yes.
Yeah. Good watch as well.
I do actually. Yes, in fairness, I do watch them.
They're a good
they
watch
are
as well.
masters in their craft.
Yeah, and I was saying to Craig, I was like, "Are you still working?" Or, well, you were with me, weren't you? The pair of us were talking about this. We were saying, like, "Do you still do the 888 stuff while working for drift games?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "How do you sleep?" And he was just like, "I don't."
I was like, "You must be living the dream." And he was like, "We have all listed here down by Tuesday, and then we're going to America." And I was like, "You're not living the dream."
I think you see what you see in camera is absolutely insane, and you're like, "That's such a life." But I think,
but nobody sees the other side of it.
Hi, hashtag Aidan Carr.
Yes.
Yeah, he. I think we see the good side because we're watching it through the camera. It's like whenever I used to go skiing and was going on the ski holidays, there was never any videos of me actually skiing. I mean, it was POV, point of view, but you know, the videos has everybody else doing the stupid stuff and all, and there wasn't really anything of me.
You were like, my main character syndrome can't take me making a mistake.
I mean, it was a life according to Michael Scullin, so it was funny to see everything from my view.
What's your YouTube name?
Michael Build Stuff.
No, is it not M Scullable?
M Scullinable. I don't know why I called it that.
Used to be the Instagram.
Scullytastic. That was great. I should never have changed that.
Did you get the name back again?
I don't know. Michael Scullin _ is just kind of what I have now, and I've had for the last 3 or 4 years. Like, because I had Scullytastic, and then I changed it to something else for a while, and then it became Michael Scullin.
Did you ever have a car themed Insta name?
Yep. When I had the 207, it had maybe 3 or 4. I had Stance Peugeot. I had that just Peugeot. I had that Hydro 207. Do you remember it used to be cool at one point where you put that in front of everything? Yeah, I had that. And then I think I was maybe Michael Scully 207 or Scully Stanced Pug or something at the very, very start. And then it just became... I think it was actually when I got rid of the 207 and I didn't want to change it to Michael Bora, because the Bora was supposed to be the next project. I think it just become Michael Scullin _ and that's just where it was ever since. But another channel that I watch, Donut Media.
I watched There's Everything to Know About, and it is actually like amazing whenever you find out where things started.
Yeah.
You know, fair play to them for doing the research. Like,
well, the thing is, like, and that's what happens when you're up. Now, Donut are still relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but they do have a team of researchers. You know, they've 7.7 million subscribers,
and they've one saying, "More power, baby."
Yeah, well, James is the front man, like, but particularly their series Halo. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of Halo. Have you watched Halo? I've watched it. Like, the engine, the fully built V8 versus they just put a crate V8. So that's what I was going to get on to, was like, so basically Halo, if you haven't watched it, you should. One car gets really cheap parts, the other car gets really expensive parts. So they get 2 cars that are exactly the same. And then one car gets like KW suspension, the other one gets like max speeding rods. One gets like a set of forged wheels, the other one gets a set of cheap XRs. Kits, like, then they turboed them both. One had a really good turbo kit and the other one had an eBay turbo kit, and they managed to blow both of them up. Yeah. So then they went and got they decided then they would do it again. One of them got a junkyard V8, but like, I mean, in America a junkyard V8 is what boys would have in a massive high spec drift car. Over here it's still an LS. I think the one they put in the low car was a Cadillac Escalade engine. And then they used the 350Z gearbox and an adapter plate, which is like, they're savage gearboxes. They're such good. The CD009 gearbox is such a good gearbox. Boys use them in everything. So they mounted it to that. And the high car then went and bought like the crate engine and like a brand new T5 or T56 gearbox, the same one that you get in, I think it's like the Monaro and the VXR8. They got that. So the whole thing was brand new, cost like $30,000, and they could never get the brand new setup to run right. Yet and they kept having issues with it. Whereas the junkyard engine, junkyard and quote unquote, the LS, I think, or LC09Z or something engine they had in the 350, the low car, like just ripped all day long. And the guys were like, they're having so much fun in that, and yet we have like got this brand new crate engine, and like it keeps giving us issues. So it just kind of another one of them things where it just kind of shows like you can get the best of the best, I can still break your heart and still leave you stranded waiting at the side of the road on a tow or a lift.
Well, going back to one thing, just another example of that, only probably the really expensive bits working.
Yeah.
So Jimmy from Officially Gas channel, his DC5 is running the Savex ECU, but also Savex GPS launch control.
Right.
So whenever it was being mapped, his car launches and barely spins the wheels because of the GPS speed.
Yeah, it's
and
only big gear, isn't it? Or something.
So,
or wheel speed sensors, probably.
I think it's wheel speed. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
So, Romain from Race Logic, I think it is, or something like that. So, no, it's not.
Are they the guys that do the timing?
He maps cars, basically.
Right, okay.
So, he ended up. So, they launched it a few times, and with a GPS, basically, they got the car that it was only putting on boost with it needed, I think. Mm-hmm. So, he was fit to launch it and do 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds.
Holy shit.
He was putting in times comparable to a 1000 brake R35 GTR.
And they're a electronic masterpiece.
Now, it's the only car that I've beaten him, and it was over 1000 brake R35 GTR.
Holy shit.
See, in the launch, he got away quicker, but the 35, caught up with him.
Yeah, they're a masterpiece. I'm not a massive fan of an R35. If you give one to me right now, I'd go, oh yeah, absolutely, I'll take it. But, like, I know a guy, in work, had an R32, bought it when it was cheap. Well, when they were making reasonable money, and he sold it, and with the money he sold his R32 for, he was able to buy an R35.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
to be honest, though, I would have had the 32 over the 35.
I've told him that, and he said, yeah, you think that until... Like, because Jack McGarry's R32 is like one of my favourite cars ever. Jack McGarry, good friend of the podcast. But like Lee was like, yeah, but he's like, when you drive the R35, it's just more modern. It's just nicer place to be in. And here you can't really slag Lee. He's an absolute petrolhead. He has a '95 SIR Civic, a navy, absolutely immaculate in the shed, and an FD2. Yeah.
Oh.
Drives it to work the other day. Cool as fuck.
They are
the 5-door import Civic.
They are the Jap version of the FN2 with the K20A engine, but only making more power than the EP3 and DC5.
Out of all of them, I'd have the FD2.
To be honest, out of all the Skylines, I'd have a 34 in heartbeat. I know that's very much.
No, I mean the 34 is probably the one you'd want. They're like, class looking.
Matip R34, his car is like perfect. So it has the custom forged 3-piece wheels.
Mm-hmm.
They look very OEM plus.
Yeah.
Z-tune wings, Z-tune front, the Nismo kit,
mm-hmm.
the higher spoiler, fucking legs, whatever you want to call them. Just it's. Like, if I had all the money in the world, I'd just daily drive one of them.
I think, honestly, if I was to go for something, I would have Jack's car. Except I would change up the wheels. I'd do something more Michael Scullen-esque, but I'd have Jack's R32.
I prefer Jack's Enkai RPF1s over the wheels he has at the minute.
No, the Grams. I quite like silver and white wheels.
I love silver wheels.
So I think... Personally, if it was me, I would have the Rays in silver. However, it's not my car.
Nor mine.
It's not your car. It's Jack's car, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. And I'm sure our opinion doesn't mean that much.
To be fair, though, for a car to go fast, now see, he likes the Skylines and that. So we sat in Johnny's car, and
The Chaser?
it's over
It's fucking
700
terrifying.
brake.
No.
600 brake.
630 brake, but
630
it's
brake.
nearly 700 in torque.
So, oh, right, okay. So
It's an animal.
it's an animal.
It's scary.
But see, for a car to be big brake, but still feel safe to a certain regard, I have to say, like...
Yeah, Jack's car felt like you were on a cloud. When he puts the foot down and it hooks, it feels like you're, because of the four-wheel drive and semi-slick tyres, it just, like Crest's car, when he bangs it, you're like, literally, it's, and Crest's not a bad pilot, but you're literally like, fuck, like this car feels unpredictable. Like under the power she's in, you're just like even like the Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, it just, you're sitting there going like, if we hit like a bit of, if there's like maybe leaves in the road, this thing's going through the ditch. Like Jack, when he puts the foot down, and I can't wait to both of them have their cars sorted so I can see the drag race.
To 70.
Aye, to 70. Because from a rolling start, I think standing start Jack will have it. Now Jack's going even more upgrades. I think when you compare the torque of the 2J bottom end, the 3 litre, versus the RB26, I know Creth will have the low end torque from being the 3 litre. Jack will have the low end torque from
It'll
the
need
VCAM.
to be a rolling race.
Be a rolling race. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be one of my favourite things anyway.
Well, just an honourable mention for a YouTube channel that I watch, and it's very much all to do with EP3s. So it's a fella, all EP3 is basically his YouTube name, right? So the thing I liked about his channel was he got his car and over so many years has been building it.
Yes.
So like he's been sorting the rust issues out, showing, getting new wheels and having the problems, as you say, at Nightride and that, so rubbing the back arms. But then he went and got the car mapped, so he went for a Honda Vert ECU, which is essentially K Pro V2.
Mm-hmm.
It was like £250.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've blocked it now, or if you take it to a map, you're like, please don't update the software, or else they'll like Honda. Essentially, as a rip off of their product, they're like, no, I think that's the way it's went. But anyway, so he showed with the Skunk Ultra and the Tiguan Tech, that his
realised I've got shavings all over my
his
arm.
2.25 inch exhaust held him back massively in power, and he made 220.
Yes. That's holding back your car as well.
As to a certain extent, yes.
That B-pipe.
Then he went and done the Solid Fab
Full 3-inch.
full 3-inch super silent, and done the cams. Now he makes 255.
Ooh, that'd be a quick car.
So buddies took all the pop and bangs and all that out. Your boy Romain mapped the car, so he mapped it at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 and so on. So left the car at a constant 3,000 to get the fueling right, so it drives factory. So it was.
So that's nearly
it's
what you
nice
want.
to be able to watch somebody who has your car or the same
Refine
car
it
as
to
you,
that level.
and you're like, it gives you an idea of what you could do.
Yeah.
It'd be like somebody building a Saab engine Sierra, and you'd be like, oh, no, you try to do that, Mr. Scullable.
I did, but I'm not a fabricator. I
But
don't want to say I'm good in camera, but I'd be better at talking about what's done, because I understand the technical side of it and I know what to do. These just
Don't do it.
do it. Like
you're good in your head.
the head doesn't match the hands. The head knows what to do, the hands doesn't. It took me a long time to realise that, and still now, like when I fart about my car, like it probably takes me 1.5 length of time that would take anybody else who's good at mechanicking.
But the one thing I would say about your car is, though, anything that you have done yourself, it's not that you've done a bad job of it. It's
the first time doing it.
You've had first time doing it, but you've had bad experiences. So there's always some stupid thing that nobody could have thought of has went wrong.
Yeah, Niggles will do it all the time.
But the last video he did, it was on your FK2 versus an EP3. So a man that had an EP3 sold it and bought an FK2, which is the first of the turboed Type R's, and he had to go on it versus the EP3.
Yeah.
And the conclusion, which I think anybody would have, is yes, the newer, like the Skyline, it's nice, refined and all that. But whenever you just want to have fun, there's nothing that beats just the raw driving of an EP3.
EP3.
Or the old stuff.
Yeah, but I would take an EP3 over an EK9, I think. Now, I would. Since being in your car with a Honda and all, the EP3 is just such a fun car. They're just... The EK9s are class as well, but I think we like EK9s because they're rare and they're expensive.
But they're not like the Irish Type R.
Well, and I think a K20 just sounds nicer than a B16.
K20s, I think, even in an EK shell...
Sound even better again.
don't sound as good, I don't think,
no, I disagree.
as the EP3s.
Disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I think they sound amazing. And to be honest, it's the K20 engine that does it for me. Which is why I would go for a... Like, if I was given a bone stock EP3 or a bone stock EK9, I would go for the EP3. But if you were to give me an EK with a K20 in it...
You'd have it over it?
I would find it very, very difficult to...
Now, don't get me wrong, an EK9 with tilt brackets lowered nicely on a set of like 16-inch wheels.
On a set of body clubs, white body clubs.
How about this? A Jordan with EK9 spoiler on tilt brackets, and so basically the UK version of the EK9. Well, I suppose K20, which
no, I would take I'd take a championship white over a Jordan.
I like the yellow though, but yes, I get what you mean by the.
I would.
To be fair, Cosmic Grey or Championship White.
Oh, and an EP3 Cosmic Grey.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm nearly swaying towards, if it's nicely polished up, Milano Red's really hard to beat in them.
Milano Red's lovely in them, but Cosmic Grey for me is the colour for an EP3. If I have an EP3 in my head, it's Cosmic Grey. If I have an EK9 in my head, it's Championship White. And if I have a EF in my head, it's whatever the red colour is. Is it Milano Red you get in the old?
Not entirely
Not sure.
no.
In my head, an EF and an EG are red.
Well, if you could...
No, an EG is that teal blue colour, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if you could do the Sierra game, what colour would you want?
I would run a Porto Red, their original colour, the OG colour. At one point I talked about doing like when painting was cheaper and I hadn't went down the rabbit hole as much as I did and had to spend all the extra money getting it to run right. I was originally going to spray it like a candy colour, kind of what it was, and I was looking up not lowriders, but kind of like sort of 1960s Fords.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to say Coupe de Ville because that's a Cadillac. Thunderbird. Like looking up the colours you could get in Ford Thunderbirds and stuff like that. So paint technology that wouldn't be massively advanced but would pop pretty cool. And then I just went, do you know what? I actually really like the original colour. I was kind of, don't get me wrong, Brian done a class job on the wrap. I thought the wrap was darker. When the wrap turned out to be as red as it was, I was kind of originally like, because it doesn't match the engine bay, which is the OG colour.
Yeah.
Whenever it gets repainted.
I think though the lighter colour suits the body clubs.
Yes, it does. It does. The original colour is more Ford than the colour is at the minute. It's definitely more spicy. But anyway, we have talked about YouTubers for far longer than I planned.
There's a lot of them.
There is.
There's a lot of people trying to do it.
We're going to move on to the Versus Challenge. Actually, no, we're not, because I had one more honourable mention that I mentioned at the start of the podcast. So he's not on, I haven't found them on YouTube anyway, but they're on Instagram and TikTok. Do you follow Retro Garage?
Tell you the truth, no.
So it's a guy from the south.
Okay.
Drives an S6. And all his videos are just about keeping like 80s and 90s cars alive. And he talks about these random odd facts. He literally uploads a video. He says, "Did you know?" And he'll talk about some random odd fact. And he posts quite a lot. But I have to say, I do enjoy his content on Instagram and TikTok. So, I mean, I don't even know the guy personally, but his content's pretty good. So, if you want to go follow retro stuff, I would recommend it to all 12 people that listen. Now we'll go move on to the Versus Challenge. So, you're looking at me as if to say, I haven't a fucking clue what to ask you.
It's just going...
So hold on, we're going to go with...
you do yours first, sure.
And we will swish in 3, 2, 1. So, Conor, on the topic of YouTubers, and this is probably maybe a boring question on my side, but when we're talking about drift games, so drift games have two PS13s. The red one and the grey one.
Yeah.
So the grey one's the Spurt Ray.
Yeah, yeah.
And the red one's the... Is it Origin Kit it? with the custom
Thanks, Vertex.
with the custom Strom wheels.
Yes.
Which one are you picking?
Oh, the red one, any day of the week.
Yeah, I go for the red one too.
Oh, like, no offence to the vegan, but I think that Spirit Ray one is not my cup of taste at all.
I do like the Spirit Ray because I do genuinely quite like grey cars.
Yeah.
But that red one is just something else.
Yes, the only thing I would do to the red one, but I wouldn't do to it, is Big Country Labs. That would be the only thing I would do to it.
Would you then, I suppose...
Or else Vertex, or no, sorry, 326 power spoiler.
That'd be cool. But then I suppose to follow on, would you take the PS13 or the S14?
Oh, the S14 any day.
Really?
Like, oh, it is perfection.
It is. It has air. It's massive power. It
Looks fucking real.
I'd still take the PS13.
Oh, it's now I love PSs.
That S14 ticks every box.
That S14.
Every box.
The only thing I would change in S14 is RB25.
Well, it's an SR22.
I
Still
know
an SR, so fuck SRs. But, you know, it's...
No, but whenever I heard S15 OTR and
Oh, it sounds amazing.
it with the full-on hardcut limiter, just imagine that in that S14. That would be perfection.
Just wait here. Let's just want to talk about SRs. So there is a lad with down the country, Tipperary, Andrew Finnegan, has a Sierra with an SR. Do you know what horsepower it makes?
No.
615.
Why didn't you go SR?
Because fuck SRs.
No, you know why you didn't go SRs?
Couldn't afford it.
No, not even that. You had to be an awkward cunt.
Yeah, to be fair,
Sorry, an awkward bastard.
Sorry, Jack McGarry at one point had talked, when he still had the blue S15, had talked about RB swapping the S15. And I was like, Jack, I'll buy your entire setup. Because, and that was when they weren't mega money. I was like, Jack, I'll buy your entire setup. So, like, I think this was before he had actually, I think this was before he went and done the turbo.
Because realistically, the amount of money you blew in that Saab engine would have easily SR20'd that.
There'd still be a lot of money. Like, sure, Ali's doing a Z-Tech converted Sierra at the minute, and it's costing similar to what mine's is costing. And that's, you could argue drop in, but it's only drop in if it's a bit rough. I don't want to say rough, because you can use like 1.8 CVH engine mounts and 1.8 sump, but you want to do it right, you'll use you'll use an aftermarket sump and you'll use an aftermarket engine mounts, and that stuff all costs money too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. And, like, you know, you have to buy a turbo manifold for him, you know, and your man chose not to forge it this time round.
It's a lot of money.
I don't really want to give too much away because it's not my car and not my position to do so, but
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So, what's your one for me?
Right. Suppose a wee bit themed in the weekend, right?
Yes.
So, you've landed down to Mondello.
Yes.
And you say top 20 in the show, right?
Uh-huh.
And you've done your 19 other cars, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're left with two.
Where are you going with this?
Both red over black, twin cams.
Right.
One's a Trueno, one's 11. Which one do you go for?
Trueno.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd have 11 any day of the week.
Really?
Oh, I love 11s. I don't like the pop-up headlights compared to the 11s.
Love pop-up headlights.
I
do love a UK coupe, but there's something just particularly cool about Ethan Loughery's, you know, his red over black.
Yes.
The one that I spent at under the bonnet at King of the Cone. Yeah. With the pop-up headlights, because you don't see that over here, I think that's pretty cool. It's like why I like 180s.
Right.
180 SXs.
Uh-huh.
That's why I like them over the likes of a PS13. I love pop-up headlights.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Same as like Mark 1 MX-5s.
But you know one car that does a pop-up headlights that I find suits them without the pop-up headlights is FDs or X7s.
No, you need the pop-ups.
I personally, the first thing I
And
used to do
FCs.
and we will have a podcast someday about it, back in Need for Speed Underground 2 days, I straight away changed to the clear lights where they've done away with the pop-ups.
No, I wanted to keep the pop-ups. I just love pop-ups.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Pop up and down headlights.
Can I do a wee bonus versus?
You can, but we are running out of time.
Yes. No, we're not.
Well, we're not, but I just don't want to be editing for 2 hours again.
Fair enough. If you had all the money in the world, would you JZ swap the Sierra
Or
2J or 4-rotor.
Oh, 2J all day long.
Really?
Can you imagine me owning a rotary? They're the most unreliable engine in existence, even if they are well maintained.
You've all the money in the world, lad.
Yes,
Somebody's
but
maintaining it
you
for
still
you.
end up stuck at the side of the road. And that's the bit that's the worst. That helpless feeling of being stuck at the side of the road.
And there was somebody last year that had a 2J stuck in a Sierra, did they
Yeah,
not?
that was class.
It was.
Yeah.
They had very big wheels on it.
Yeah.
I don't like the very big wheels, but I love the fact that 2J.
Liam, forgot. I want to say Liam Flynn, but it's
Because when I seen your car, I was like, yeah, this is pure mad. And then I was like, he is one-upped him in the engine department.
eyes went and I need 18-inch work equips on.
Don't like the 18s in a Sierra.
They would have been better if they were dished. The dish would have made them look smaller.
It's not even that, it's the fact that it was so high. Because if you look at yours at road height when you're
Yeah.
driving, it is very high off the ground whenever you look at
So
the back.
Al Dillon's Sierra on coilovers and 18s is higher than a standard Sierra on 15-inch lattices.
Fuck.
Higher than a standard 4x4. Now the 4x4 will, I think, has a bit of extra weight in the front because of the transfer case and all that there, like in the front diff and all. So, but yeah, his is actually, despite being lowered on coilovers, is higher.
Fair
He
enough.
showed me a picture of it. So that's the Versus Challenge done. Moving on to the
Shoutouts.
no,
No.
big old skids and one wheel pills.
Yes.
So I've had you know what, I don't like doing this in camera, but we've no other way of doing it unless I get a book, in which case it'll look the same. So I always hate like staring at my phone and then talking into the camera because I think it looks really unprofessional. But until I get a billboard behind us that I can afford that says everything.
Now, my head has not went to mush just as bad as I thought. So I have my bigger skid is James
Well,
Dean's putting a 4-rotor into the RX-7.
Yeah,
That is
that's
unreal.
fucking class.
I cannot wait to Thursday to see another video about
Absolutely
it.
class.
That is goals.
So
And
you
the
watched
fact-
James Dean then as well?
Sorry, that's another honourable mention. I watched James Dean quite a bit, yes. And Becky Evans as well.
Do you watch the Shanahans?
I do,
Yeah, so you watch all them as well?
yes.
But I mean, if you listed every YouTuber you watch, we would be
We
here
would
till
be
the
here
morning.
all the morning, yes.
Yeah.
I can't think of a one-wheel pit at the moment.
I have quite a few big old skids and one wheel pile. So I'll rip through them all here.
Right.
The first one, a fella I work with, he's so funny. It's a lad Colin McDonald. Listens to the podcast.
Oh.
We gave him a
Thank
shout
you.
out last week, but he put it on his TikTok. He has like a B6 A4.
Uh-huh.
Right, bought one.
Yes.
Cut the roof off it. So he starts the video off with him putting a grinder disc into the CD player. And the next thing it's him cutting out a sunroof. He just cuts the entire roof off the car. And he's just driving about in it. What? It's unreal. Go watch it. It's so funny.
So wait, he's actually cut the full roof off the
Yeah.
car? Why?
Because why not? he's a nut job, like.
D-turbine. D-turbo. No, here.
Was that a D-turbo went
Yeah.
by? Huh. I was too busy listening to my own voice. Did you see the video of the Mitsubishi Colt with the 24-inch exhaust?
Yes. they did cut into the car
So
quite
there
a
used
bit.
to be a Photoshop years ago of an EG Civic with a massive exhaust, and it was used to appear in all them Max Power
Yes.
slideshows, the red one. Well, this one here,
Did one of them not Photoshop a jet engine into it for the crack of it?
yeah, possibly actually. Yeah, there was. That's right. But this one here is real.
Oh no!
It just sounds like a on-off straight pipe. It sounds like it's cut off with the cat because it's not going to make any noise coming
and it's
through.
mad that the fumes are only coming out like a tiny wee bit.
Aye,
of the
it's
exhaust.
so literally, don't they cut the entire bumper and all to fit the?
Oh, the bit and everything. aye.
Yeah. So I wrote that down at the time. Another thing. So I was heading up to Ali's the other week, and I was leaving from Cookstown.
Yeah.
And Conor, we need to buy something low powered but fun.
I have that.
No. I'm talking like a Micra or like an MX-5 or like a Peugeot 106 or something like that.
Elaborate.
Right, so I drove from Cookstown to up through then Greencastle and up into Gorchin and all, and out through I think Plum Bridge and eventually into Donamana to where Ali's at. And then the roads, you're up through the Sperns. The roads, they're obviously double laned, so cars going both ways.
That's the way roads work.
Well, it's not like side roads.
Yeah.
It's not like a side road. So you could have a lot of fun in something low powered that you didn't give a fuck about with good brakes. And then if you were to come back from Donegal and head home then by Feeney and out over through the Sperns again and down into Draperstown and back round Lough Fay and back to Cookstown that way, you'd have done a full tank of petrol because you'd be cutting the life out of it. The reason I say something like a 106 or something is it's something that'll feel fast and something that's light, but it's not. It's not quick, but it would feel fast, and something you can just drive the shit out of. Like something like that, and like a set of good brakes, you would have the best fun ever. Just this maybe like 80-mile loop or whatever it was.
My Polo.
Your Polo would have been class for it, yeah. But your old Polo's nearly too fresh. I'm talking like something older, something a bit like a 106.
Corsa B.
Yes, exactly. Or an old like a K10 Micra.
Nova.
Yes, except that Nova would definitely die. But I was thinking, or like some rear wheel drive, like an MX-5. They're getting too costly now. But back when an MX-5 was like an £800 car, like standard height kind of thing, just drive it. Like it would just be, you wouldn't have to do like over 60 or 70. You just would have to be brave enough to do 60 or 70 through some of the turns, which you should only really be doing 40 through. But if you had both sides of the road and it was like, say, nighttime or something, you'd have the best fun. And I found that the other day when I was driving up.
What were you driving?
The Lexus IS300.
So were you having the best fun?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's automatic and
so no.
It's sluggish and the brakes judder when I hit the brakes because I need to change the discs.
So no.
No, it was still a good enough road, but the thing is, you'd be scared of sumping out and stuff like that. I don't think you can actually break the sumps in Lexus.
It's not a Bora.
It's not the Bora. Bora would definitely burst the sump on that road. I don't know whether this is a big old skid or a one-wheel pile.
Right, okay.
I seen a dunk Lexus. Do you know what dunks are? Dunks are the cars in America where they put like 30-inch wheels.
Oh, they're like the odd person has it in like a muscle car.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't see it so well. Kind of muscle car, more lowrider style cars. Yeah, so like Bel Airs and stuff. I don't think you really. Well, you do see people do it with Mustangs and stuff actually. Yeah, so people are putting like 30-inch wheels in their cars.
And somebody did that to a Lexus.
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
Do you like it?
I don't know. I appreciate the fact that someone had the balls to do it and didn't make a complete arse about face job. Would I own it personally? Absolutely fucking not.
No, I wouldn't like that, to be honest.
No, it's probably more of a one-wheel pile, but I do appreciate the work that went into it.
We appreciate the work, but it's shit looking.
Big old skid.
Right.
Shanahan versus Shanahan. Watching the Drift Games video in Finland. I swear, it nearly brought a tear to me.
So we... Right now, I watched it, seen it, and was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then told you about it.
Well, I watched the Drift Games video because whenever I was busy on the Saturday, so I tuned in to see Dwayne, and then when he went out, I was like, "God, fuck this!" And
kind of did that too, and then I waited 2 hours, and I was like, "Oh, yes."
Yeah." So when I saw the Shanahans, then I was like, and just watching it, and like Jack and Conor's ma, and the Drift. If you see the Drift Games video, Jack and Conor's ma she's just so wholesome. It's just, and like I was sitting watching, you just seen the two of them, and like Jack and Conor can both drive. It just literally depends who probably. I don't want to say it comes down to luck or skill. It's definitely a high amount of skill involved, and it might just be. I don't think Conor or Jack's necessarily a better driver because they're both incredible drivers.
One wins one time, one wins the next time.
Yeah, I do think Conor is maybe the better chaser. There's been more videos
when
and
Conor's on his day.
Yeah,
the likes of Poland in the stadium against James Dean, but then again against Dwayne in Ireland.
I think Jack's more consistent.
Jack, I would say, is as close to a perfect lead driver.
Yeah,
and
Conor's a bit more
Conor
fearless.
On his day would be a better chase driver.
Yeah.
So on their days, sometimes Conor's chase outweighs Jack's lead. Or Jack's chase. and some days Jack's lead is good enough to outdo Conor's.
And I think in
Conor's
this
lead.
case it was Conor's chase run.
It was
Fucking
fucking unreal.
It was unbelievable.
If you haven't seen it, honestly, go watch
It's
it.
class. Nick Bassett's Volvo, another big old skid.
Yes.
So, friend of the podcast, Nick Bassett, fun fact, he bought that Volvo off the same guy who I bought the WM606 off.
Oh.
And who I used to work with.
Oh.
Aaron, really nice guy. And I remember like Aaron driving that car into work, and then Nick bought it. And so it was like kind of wondering, he was speaking to us at Driftmasters about it. He was like, I'm wondering what livery and all to do. And he was saying he's thinking of doing like a playing word about Rothmans. And I was like, what about like Roth persons? And he said, what about Roth thems? I know I'm not meaning to be derogatory or anything like that, you know, and pronouns, and obviously you got to respect that stuff and all. But I just thought it was an incredible play in words. I think anybody that would look at that would know there's no harm in it. It was just the best play in words. They done the entire Volvo in like the Rothmans Porsche livery, but except they done it with like sticky tape.
Yeah.
So the whole car's just been done with insulation tape, and it's amazing.
Some of the stickers.
It's absolutely fucking hilarious. Did he do a Pirelli but like a penis? Instead, we had suggested a couple of good ones in the group chat. I can't remember them off the top of my head. There's some rash ones suggested, and I really don't want to say them because they get cancelled.
Yes.
But yeah. So that was definitely a big old skid. And another friend of the podcast, another listener, that's kind of nearly a merge, but Taylor Dixon. So he's recently bought a 335D.
Oh, yes.
He got her straight piped. Sounds like the fucking apocalypse.
That would sound
Send me a
unreal.
few videos, I'll show them to you after. They are, it sounds unbelievable.
Deadly.
And it goes like shit off. I'd say it'd be faster than that.
E90 or F30?
E92. So 3-door.
Unreal.
Unreal.
Because I know F30 320Ds straight piped with a good limiter on them sound unreal.
Yeah.
But that's
335's twin turbo, so maybe a bit quieter. But fucking hell, can it shift? It is sharp. And I am cramping. Cramp. Right, I'm going to push through. So, moving on to shoutouts.
yes.
I've had a few.
So have I. Well, two.
I'll
do mine, then you
Go on
can
ahead,
talk a
yeah.
about yours. Yeah. So Aaron Hughes sent me a Snapchat.
So Aaron Hughes is on mine as well, yeah.
It was actually on his birthday, so I wished him a happy birthday.
Did he wish you happy birthday on your birthday?
No,
Well,
nobody else knows about that.
Conor's birthday was yesterday, which is the 16th, by the way.
The other shout out then I have is William McLaughlin.
Yes.
He has bought a very clean EP3.
Yes.
And he's bringing it over, and he was just asking me a few questions about exhaust and that. So
Funny,
hopefully
he sent me
health to drive and all that.
He sent me a marketplace ad for a Matbro.
Oh,
Yeah, he was like, I heard this in the podcast, may want to take a look at this. And I was like, it's a bit out of my price range. It was a TR250. I'm looking for something older, like the Telegram, because I can't justify spending that money. So I have got here Oisin McCorry. He's out in Arizona. Yeah,
right.
driving a harvester.
Oh,
So he sent a video of us on the radio, and I was like, that's fucking class, boy. So
that is deadly.
out in Arizona, like, so we're going worldwide, Conor. That's I when I seen that, I was like, that's absolutely class.
That is, yeah.
Conor Kelly,
Okay, yeah,
good friend of the podcast.
Oh, very good friend.
But he sent me a video the other day, and he goes,
does Adrian know why the chicken name was at his door?
No, I think the chicken's maybe dead at this point.
Oh, dear.
It's died of starvation because Adrian wouldn't let it into the house. No, but Conor, specifically why he gets this is because he sent me a Snapchat and he goes, this is my one-wheel peel, and I was like, haha, he said the line. He's been driving the Berlingo because he can't be bothered standing to fill up with diesel. He's like my L200's out of diesel. He goes, and I don't want to fill it up, so now I'm just going to drive the Berlingo. He goes, so my one-wheel peel is standing.
Does he drive a Berlingo though?
Yeah, his dad's a Berlingo with a business.
The big van's a Berlingo.
No, they have a small Citroen Berlingo.
I didn't know this.
All right, well, they have a small Citroen Berlingo. So he's been driving it now till it runs out of fuel. And he messaged me last night and goes, yeah, I put fuel in the L200. And I was like, okay. But he was like, this is my one-wheel pile. I hate standing for fuel whenever. And it was something about it being raining or something. And I was just like, okay, Conor, this is going in the podcast.
Well, a wee one-wheel pile is, yes. So 99 octane fuel is obviously beside Crea Concrete there at Newbridge.
Yes.
It has no cover.
Right. Oh,
Last Sunday it started to piss rain. Ironically, it stopped pissing rain when I went into the shop.
That'll be right enough, yeah.
I didn't like getting soaked.
That'd be correct. Well, funny when we're on the topic of petrol stations.
Oh.
My one-wheel pile. Apple green toilets. They are fucking shite. I didn't actually mention my one-wheel pile. I had it written down here and I forgot to say it. My one-wheel pile. Apple green toilets are fucking shite. They are the most unclean places I've ever been. So I stopped in the one, so because I was in Cork last week, I stopped in the one outside Dublin, Lusk, and it was just disgusting. And any other Apple green I've ever
Was it
in,
the outside one or the inside one?
the one heading home.
Aye, but do them Apple greens not have like a lorry toilet where you can shower in that, and then you have the inside one, so if you're late at night?
It was the inside one.
For years ago on the way down to work.
Oh, when you were in Waterford, yeah.
Yeah, so it was on the way home.
Right.
And I had ate something wrong.
Oh.
I get cramps.
That would be you on a regular basis.
And my body doesn't like gluten anymore.
Mm.
And to be fair now, it was a nice toilet.
Well, the one I was in, Conor, I can assure you was certainly not, and it didn't even fucking flush.
She's blocked.
No, it wasn't, but it's just that I've had that before. I've been in Apple green toilets where they've had no loo roll. Half the time the sinks don't work. The hand dryers go in half power. They're shite, like.
I normally just go for a pish, but if you're needing the number 2, you need a clean.
I was still going to the toilet, but it was still, like, just, I was like, I walked in, I was like, I literally cannot
Was it
use
like
this.
a Portaloo at a festival?
No, it's just non-worked.
Oh, so it was worse than the Portaloo at a festival?
Yeah, at least a Portaloo at a festival, once you put a peg in your nose, they're dead on.
Fair enough.
Like, whereas, like, at least at a festival, like, they'll come and power wash them every fucking 12 hours. I don't know when that one in Apple Green was last looked at, but it's fucking ridiculous.
Okay.
So, following on then, that was interrupt the mentions to go back to a previous segment because I'm an idiot and forgot. Taylor Broggy messaged me. Taylor has that. Do you remember the Chaser that was parked beside me at Dubshed?
Yes.
The creamy coloured one.
That's nice.
Oh, deadly.
It also has the Origin rear bumper on it.
Yes, and strong
the
DSO5s and murdered tints.
It's a deadly looking car.
Oh, it's fucking class. Really nice car. So, yeah.
And we love Chasers.
We do love Chasers. As the turbo here, as Patsy says as well, yep.
Good old Patsy.
Good old Patsy the turbo. And then my final mention was Gary Kerrigan.
Yes.
Another good friend of the podcast.
Another good friend, yes.
Put up a video of us on the big screen, or a picture of us on the big screen, and did a bit of promotion and stuff. So happy about it.
Yes.
And that concludes all the time of me looking at my phone and not giving the camera eye contact.
So it has now been 1 hour and 40 something minutes to us. God knows how many it is after you have a wee look at it.
Probably not far off.
But so we're kind of tight for time. We're a wee bit behind ourselves. This podcast, ideally we were trying to get it done sooner,
then
but
I end up having to go
Sierra
to Cork.
comes first and work comes first. So just leave Michael a wee bit. Hand your life. I think everything's been said in this podcast. It can be said.
Well, I think 1 hour 40 is fairly long for a podcast anyway.
Yes.
So
thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully you've had a blast listening to us talk shite as usual.
this will be coming out when we're all at LZ Fest. So
If you're at LZ Fest and
Listen
you get
to
a
us
wee
on the
bit
way
of
home.
signal at Mandela,
it'll be about 1 hour 40 home to the north from Dublin.
perfect.
So perfect to listen to.
And if you're
our-
driving from Cork, it's a wee bit longer. So
just listen to us 2 or 3 times.
yes,
So Conor, on your socials, you are
Conor.McGoo and Michael on your socials. You are
Michael Scullin _ had to actually think for a minute. Nearly done it either. Yeah, so I'm Michael Scullin _ Did I say Michael _ Scullin? Oh, fuck me, it turned into you. I am Michael Scullin _ on absolutely everything apart from Snapchat. which I probably should change, but I've grown used to my old Snapchat name, so if you want to add me, it's Scullen. But anyway, more importantly, follow the podcast if you're not already following it. So it's Limited Slip Differences on everything apart from Snapchat because the name wasn't long enough. So it's LSD Podcast. But on everything else, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, it's at Limited Slip Differences.
And if you do happen to message us, we will get back to you, but
we sometimes take a couple of days because we're
fucking useless.
Yeah, we're stone useless. And yeah, Conor, do the outro.
Thanks again for watching or listening to the Limited Slip Differences. God. I'll get it someday.
Right, we just
thanks for listening, guys. All the best.
Cheers.
Good day.
Good luck.